Funded by the people for the people, the BBC licence fee means the British public has more than a passing interest in how that cash is spent. Once close colleagues at the very top of the organisation, now former Director General Mark Thompson and current BBC Trust Chairman Chris Patten essentially accuse each other of lying about who knew what and when about grossly excessive payments to departing BBC staff. Take Mark Byford, the Deputy Director General, on a salary of close to £500,000. He was given cash for his holidays and almost £1 million as payment in lieu of notice, even though he continued to work. Mark Thompson is now involved in some very public reputation management. In evidence submitted to the Public Accounts Committee, he says the picture painted for the PAC by the BBC Trust witnesses on 10 July 2013 contained important inaccuracies and was fundamentally misleading about the extent of Trust knowledge and involvement. The insinuation that they were kept in the dark by me or anyone else is false. When he appeared in Parliament in July, Lord Patten denied knowing about these payments.
Where they exceed contractual obligations, should the Trust have known?
Yes. And if you call in due course a previous Director General of the BBC, I will be as interested as you are in why we didn't know.
That's his story, and he's sticking to it.
There's one aspect of this very long deposition by Mr. Thompson which I've found very curious, which is the focus on Mark Byford and his payoff. Because, as anybody who works at the BBC knows, that happened before I became chairman of the Trust. So it's slightly difficult to see how I could have been responsible for that.
This is no mere he said, she said, who cares story. Ultimately, this is about abuse of the licence fee.
It does seem a bit unedifying to see our wonderful BBC have its executives and senior executives, ex-executives, fighting rather like rats in a sack. And I think we just need to hear what they've got to say.
Another of those who gave evidence to the committee is Lucy Adams, Head of Human Resources and due to leave the BBC early next year. Previously, she said she hadn't even seen a memo describing severance payments made to senior members of staff, including Mark Byford. Now it transpires she helped write it. Yet more evidence of dysfunctional management. The BBC says these severance packages have saved the public money, but clearly nowhere near as much as it might, had BBC bosses not awarded other BBC bosses more than was absolutely necessary.